welcome everybody to the latest in our series of London interviews. And we're only a matter of weeks now away from London International Shipping Week. And already the events are going on the calendar and people are signing up, and it's going to be a very, very busy week. But we're very, very honoured today to welcome Mr. Arun Sharma, Executive Chairman of Indian Register of Shipping, which is a leading classification society with a strong global footprint. Under his leadership, IRS has achieved remarkable growth, expanded its international presence, and strengthened its role in safety, quality, and innovation in the maritime sector. And today we will explore the inspiring journey of IRS, its growth prospects, and the significant initiatives shaping its future in an evolving maritime world. And also, IRS are going to be holding two events during LISW as well on the Tuesday in the Global Hub, and already people are signing up for that. So that's going to be good to see all the people there from IRS coming over to London as well. Mr. Sharma, welcome to London Interviews. Nice to see you today. So 50 years of growth at IRS. We've got a golden jubilee milestone, the Indian Register of Shipping. A lot of recognition in India and internationally. Tell me what the 50 years means, this milestone means to you heading up this organization.
Yes, Ishan, while we are looking forward to coming over to participate in London Shipping Week, it also makes it even more pleasant because we have just completed 50 years of our journey as an Indian Classification Society. I think at the outset, let me say that we actually started operations on 4th of April 1975, but the envisioning of the Indian Register, I think, started much earlier by somebody by the name of Sir Ramaswamy Mudaliar, who was a lawyer by profession, heading a shipping company and the president of the Indian National Shipowners Association. And his main thought was that when India had already so much of shipping in the years preceding 1975, why there was no Indian Classification Society? So I think he took the matter up with the government of India and very quickly gained traction with them. And the government of India approved the formation of an Indian Classification Society as early as early 75. And IRS started its operations on the 4th of April 1975. So due credit to him, but of course, equal credit to those who came after him, after the society was formed, for their hard work and especially their work towards building a quality organization, which I think we started paying off gradually. And the benchmark of any class society is its membership of the IACS. And we became the member of IACS, associate member, in 1991. And thereafter, with the continuous improvement in our rules, development, conventions, etc., the full membership of IACS was actually gained by us in June 2010. I think there were definitely headwinds against it, but I think we were able to prove that we were as good as anybody else who was a member of IACS. And finally, the membership was given to us in June 2010. Thereafter, 2016 was the recognition as a European recognized organization, the EURO, in 2016. And thereafter, the US Coast Guard in 2020. 2020 was the US Coast Guard recognition. And just to clarify, while there are 12 members of IACS, the US Coast Guard has given its recognition only to 7 members, So there are 7 of us who are members who are actually recognized by the US Coast Guard also. I think that having said, we probably moved on to as a recognized class society internationally. And thereafter, of course, the effort was to continue to build on quality and at the same time try to get members into our fold. Before that, we had to get the authorization of number of flags. And as we stand today, before we completed 50 years, we were, I think, recognized by the 52 flags, and today we are recognized by 55 flags. The idea is to get as many recognitions from good flags, the white flags, those having a better reputation internationally. And so today we are recognized by 55 flags. And of course, over a period to be able to serve our clients well, we have overall about close to 50 offices internationally, starting from China to Houston, so that we are able to provide a quick response time to the clients. We have almost about 24 offices in India and 26 offices abroad.
That's a lot of offices, isn't it? That's a lot of good
Yes,
representation internationally and locally.
yes, and in fact, Sean, just to put you in the right perspective, that while we were building on the infrastructure for providing the services, today I think we have close to 25 million GT under our belt, serving the various ship owners, and we have also been able to diversify, distribute, and balance the owner profile of our fleet with slightly less than 50% Indian owners and about 55% foreign flag. So there is a well diversified profile of the fleet. And as we go forward, I think the stress would be that we would rather take into class quality owners, irrespective of, the nationality, but of course a good flag, etc. And that is happening gradually, but rarely, I would say, consistently. I think with that, I think the growth pattern, and also let me tell you that today IRS is a fully independent company. We are a public limited company, not for profit. And our character is that we spend a fair amount of money into also training and research, which is a requirement for future. Starting in the last 10 years, our top line has improved multifold. Our bottom line has improved, I would say, in a very, very satisfactory manner. And we have never had any debt. We are totally a debt-free company, independent company, and are able to serve our clients 24/7 without any issues. Those are my few thoughts as we complete 50 years. And we are today trying to build up an organization which probably will be future-proof. We are taking in new areas of business. We are bringing in things like digitalization, metallurgical engineering, etc., so that you are able to concentrate on the future, which is looking quite. I mean, it's still very hazy, but definitely it is going to be of a very different profile. The manner in which the shipping operates today. I think that probably I would like to just give you a glimpse of what we have been able to do in the last 50 years.
And I think really when you're also chair of IACS a few years ago as well, which really underlines your credentials as a quality organization, because IACS stands for nothing short of the highest quality there is in the world when it comes to the role it plays adhering to IMO standards in new building and what have you. So that must have been important for you when you took over chair of IACS.
Yes, Sean. Actually, interesting. In fact, before I took over the chair of IACS, I was vice chair in 2019, and chair in, I think, 2020. Before that, in fact, IRS has been both participating and contributing in IACS for a number of years. And just before that, actually, we also were holding the chair of, I think it was the chair of safety. And I was also the chair of, at that time, what used to be called the small group on quality policy. But now, I think a couple of years later, in between, there was another society chairing quality. But then they decided, since the quality was a very important aspect of class, of any company, but especially with reference to class, they upgraded the small group of quality to what they call the subcommittee on quality policy. And of that particular the subcommittee on quality policy, I've been chairing for the last 4 years. And there is a fair amount of work being done there. And so far, I think I feel that you feel quite satisfied because today, honestly, the one aspect of any company, especially a class society, is that how qualitative it can be. And thereafter, of course, I mean, being the chair of IACS, I was, it was quite a responsibility. In fact, when you chair IACS, you have a team of as many as about 15 to 20 people in your office to handle the IACS chair's work. And that went on pretty smoothly. And in fact, we had two major issues during my chair, the period of my chair. One was that you had the COVID in 2020. It was getting quite difficult to really run ships as per the prescribed requirements. So that time the Secretary General of IMO, Mr. Kitak Lim, suggested that he quite appreciated the difficult times we were passing through in that COVID period. But he also said that IMO has to ensure that the ships run without any difficulty and without any delays, but at the same time, there is no compromise with the requirements of the SOLAS and the Marpol conventions. And now that was quite I would say, quite a tough task to really take on board. But then he said that while he would like to issue a circular to the shipping in general, he wanted a guidance note as to how that should be done. And he requested that I prepare that guidance note, for which we constituted a task force headed that time by Lloyd's Register. And the guidance note was actually culled out and prepared in just a matter of about a week's time. And he issued the guidance note and was quite satisfied that during the entire COVID period, there was no ship delayed, there were no accidents or casualties. And at the same time, we gave all kinds of cautious leeways that the ships operated with taking into account due concern on both safety and environment control. The other major thing I think which I was required to do was to bring in a governance change in IACS. To look at how the IACS, the entire body, could be better governed, and that was completed in my time. And of course, followed up in the time of the next year, which was NK. And between the two of us, we brought in the governance change pretty seamlessly. And now the IACS works under a somewhat revised, improved governance structure.
Okay, now looking at, what you were saying there, it's all about having global trust as well, to Sharma, and I think that's very, very important. And I think what you're saying there with the over 50% of IR class fleets are under foreign flags, which is good. But you've got a lot of sort of new building expertise. You've also got strength in the defence sector and working with governments. Do you want to touch a little bit on that, on the sort of areas that are very, very much, your strength and your strong points in the industry?
Yeah, Sean. Actually, primarily, we started, I think, classing Indian ships as we started operations in the 70s. And of course, there was I would say, a very strong support from the Indian government, with respect to dual classing and then going on solely to single class. But of course, they said that we can only give you some assistance, but you cannot be piggybacking on the government support, which was taken very well by us. So once all the rules were developed, surveyors were trained, I think we went into marketing with the Indian customers and also the foreign customers. After we spent some time working with various customers, I think slowly towards I think it was around 2005, 2010, we found that more and more foreign clients started looking at us mainly because of three reasons. One was the qualitative aspect of IRS. The second was the speed of delivery of services of IRS. And third one was equally important, the cost competitiveness of Indian Register of Shipping. And I think with that, as we got a few ships from the foreign clients, those started increasing over a period in a fairly larger manner. And that is how we today class almost about 55% of our tonnage actually is foreign flag. And some of them are even, I would say that some of the Greek ferries are classed with us, which though older in age, but are in very, very good condition. And I think almost about 17 to 18 Greek ferries are with us, and they're doing pretty well. And they're quite happy the way we provide service to them. And we are quite happy that they maintain the quality standards. On the defense sector, I can assure you that while we started classing with some of the smaller defense craft, today we are classing many more complex vessels of the Indian Navy, like your ASW corvettes, your new generation missile vessels, the diving support vessels. And today, I'm quite glad to convey that we are single class with the Indian Navy 100%. I mean, they come only to Indian register, and all their vessels, of course, they do not class the ships like their destroyers and frigates, but anything below that, which is also a combatant vessel, we class. And in fact, we, along with the Navy, also brought in what they call the Indian naval rules, which were basically both for the combatant vessels and the non-combatant vessels. And they were followed by a revision of the rules. And the Indian Navy while these rules are released very privately, but last time when it was released about a year ago, they said that you should actually release these rules in our commanders conference, which actually will be attended by all our senior officers, including the Chief of Naval Staff and and even the Minister of Defense. And we were given opportunity to release our revised rules or revision to the rules in that commanders conference about a year ago. And that, I think, was a very, I would say, very manner in which they did it. It showed a tremendous appreciation of the Indian Navy toward the Indian Register of Shipping. So I think we are today very much with the Indian Navy. And in fact, all the new orders virtually are coming to us, including the Coast Guard. We are picking up a little more of the numbers of craft they are doing. But both the Indian Navy and the Indian Coast Guard are today fully with us and are very supportive.
When there's a push for shipbuilding within India as well from the government, you're there to service that need as well, aren't you?
Yes. In fact, Sean, we are, in terms of shipbuilding, we have always been quite low in the sense that almost about 90 to 95% of shipbuilding is done between Japan, South Korea, and China, with the exception of a few of the passenger new buildings being built in the West. But now the Prime Minister's vision is that while we were something like number 17 on the list of shipbuilding nations, he wants us to come up to number 7. That means you've got to go above almost about 10 of them, and that is where they are right now focusing. In fact, we have been quite busy talking to the Government of India and the Ministry of Shipping in the last couple of weeks, I would say, where almost about in the next couple of weeks, they will be placing order for almost about 120 ships, which would be probably starting from the MR tankers, the platform supply vessels, rigs, going on to your Aframaxes and the large size gas carriers. I think if that was to happen in the next about, let us say, 1 to 2 months, I think the Indian shipyards will be quite busy, along, of course, with the classification societies for the next about 10 years, I would think. But, it's a ministry also realizes it's a difficult game. So they are going slow. They are going to get into collaborations and come to a level where both you are able to build quality ships with quality manpower, and at the same time to be competing with the in cost with the other shipyards. Of course, over a period, I'm sure there'll be subsidies in between, but ultimately you have to be on your own strength. And I think that is it's a long-term plan, but I think the way the Government of India is going about it looks very feasible and optimistic.
Brilliant. I want to come on to LSW. You've got a couple of events. I'm just looking at them now. Throughout on the Tuesday, you've very much dealing with the seafarer and the human element. Reimagining seafaring, elevating maritime careers. And I know that that's always been a commitment of yours to upskilling and reskilling to meet industry transform. Changes within industry. You've also got an event on looking at the nuclear side, and this again is nuclear the missing piece, I think, in maritime decarbonisation. That's going to be a very interesting debate going on part of the Global Hub, because it's very much what central to what the industry is discussing at the moment. Alternative fuels and nuclear being one of those options. Can you just very quickly just give me a bit of an insight into your thoughts on the human element, but also on nuclear as well, because these are exciting areas.
Yeah, we'll do, Sean. In fact, the what we have been talking about both internally, and I've been speaking on some of the shipping platforms as we speak today. We are sitting at the cusp of a very changed shipping as you look into the future. What we have been right now handling is very conventional kind of a shipping. You had these bulk carriers, tankers, you name it, and they were typically run by engines using fossil fuel, etc. But as we look into the future, I think the seascape is still very hazy, but I think clarity is coming gradually. But generally, clarity, once it comes, would have a suddenly picture which you should be able to meet. And I think for that, when I talk to even some of the other class societies, and we are of a very firm belief that one has to be future ready. And I think towards that, the most important part is your human element. And by human element, I mean that both the people on board and people ashore, whether they're in the offices, they're in insurance, they're in shipbuilding, wherever they should be able to meet the futuristic needs of what the shipping profile is going to be. And in fact, I think it's a given thing that in the next 20 years, the world fleet has got to be renewed. You cannot be running with this fleet for the next 20 years. And that fleet renewal will need to be gradual. I think the whole profile is going to change in a manner that so far the focus has been to, run ships on the economies of scale where the ships kept on getting bigger, and the idea was the fuel consumed per ton mile of cargo carried. That concept is now changing to the emissions which are emitted per ton mile of cargo carried, and that would radically change the profile of the ships. That means the ships could be better profiled. They could even become smaller than what they are. They could have much finer body lines. They would have better diesel engines to start with, coming on to hybrid engines, and then, of course, coming on to new fuels, things like the ethanol, ammonia, hydrogen, and all these to meet the emission requirements to get toward net zero, you will have to have green methanol, green ammonia, green hydrogen. And I think that is a challenge because the amount of energy needed to convert these fuels to green is humongous. I mean, when you look at the calculations, you wonder if that energy is going to come from fossil fuels, you're going to completely negate the emission control by actually releasing more emissions to convert them to green energy, And I think that is where actually people are today focusing on, that how do we really, what kind of energy do you use to convert these fuels to green fuels? And I think that is where people have suddenly started looking at nuclear as the option. And so far, we have been in touch with some of the nuclear people and a nuclear company, where the first thing they say is you have to remove the traditional unease with the word nuclear, where people, the moment you talk nuclear, people get worried and they get a little frightened that, is it again the Hiroshima, Nagasaki, or the Fukushima coming back again? But I think the new nuclear is whatever we understood now is far safer than what we looked at as the U-235. And I think that is where the confidence is coming up. And in fact, I think one of the leading nations in nuclear energy use is none other than the Russia, And they are in a big way using nuclear both into their naval fleet as well as some of the icebreakers, commercial fleet. And in fact, India also, we have a number of the nuclear submarines where we have some technology. But I think talking to one of the nuclear companies, and with them we have about 10 of our people who are undergoing their what they call the convoy program, trying to learn the fundamentals of nuclear so that they can have some knowledge, at least to talk about nuclear and to think how to go forward as far as the nuclear energy is concerned. The most interesting thing I found was that when it comes to nuclear, the first thing they say is you should look at the floating nuclear power plants, and they are already in existence in Russia. We have seen only the photographs, but I'm sure that one day you can even have a look at them physically. We also have somebody trying to build a nuclear floating power plant in India, somewhere around those Andaman Islands, where the entire power requirement of the island could be given by the nuclear floating power plant. And I think they will be the first ones to come. In fact, the research on new nuclear has been going on for more than 10 years in the US, which was funded by the Bill Gates and the Warren Buffett Foundation. And today, their counterparts in UK are carrying that forward into what they call the molten salt technology for these new nuclear reactors. And I think what I'm told is that by beginning 2026, you will have a prototype of a new nuclear reactor, which could be of different sizes, from the biggest to the smaller, and those could be used on some of the conventional ships and especially on the nuclear power plants. And I think when that comes, but they say commercially these would become viable by maybe 4 or 5 years later than 26, but then even 2030, 2031 not far away. But nuclear seems to be a very interesting pitch, which now people are going in a big way. A lot of countries are following this nuclear option, and it is safer than what we thought.
I mean, that's very, very exciting, and I'm certainly looking forward to your event during LSW, looking at the whole nuclear issue. I wanted to thank you for your participation in LSW and certainly coming in as an international partner, Mr. Sharma, because I think the importance of IRS, but also of India as a major player within the global shipping industry in all of its aspects, is something that we're looking forward to hearing a lot about during LSW, and certainly, and meeting all of the people that's going to be coming in and doing all that networking. So I think it's a good opportunity for that. But wanted to thank you for your support for coming in as an international partner, and I think that means an awful lot. Just finally, really looking forward to LSW. What do you've been actively involved in LSW really over the years? What are you looking forward to most for the week-long event or for the event?
Yeah, I think, Chandra, the most interesting part of LISW is that I think I don't worry too much about numbers, which of course they're in a big way there, but I think the quality aspect of the people who participate, I think that is huge. And you can meet them both formally and informally. The real takeaway comes from what you gain through the knowledge sharing on attending various events, and some people attending your events, the post-event discussions. And I think that is very interesting and exciting. And UK, you see, the other advantage UK is that in my mind, UK has been a shipping hub. It is a shipping hub and will continue to be a shipping hub because somehow it has the right ingredients to be, to be called the real shipping hub of the entire world. And you have anything you want to talk about shipping law, shipping insurance, shipping P&I, shipping companies, everything is there. So while you spend a day and a half with the participating in the events of your own event, and beyond that other events, you can also catch up with some of your own work, whether it is to do with shipping law or marine P&I or insurance. I think that makes the entire London Shipping Week much more interesting and I would say exciting.
No, that's brilliant. And I'd like to thank you for your time today as well, Mr. Sharma. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I'm certainly looking forward to catching up with you in person when you come over to London in a couple of weeks' time. It's not long now, so it's going to be good. But I just wanted to thank you for your time today. And we've certainly covered a lot of ground, and it's going to be interesting and very, very exciting to see the development of the Indian Registry of Shipping over the next few years as well. So we look forward to charting that with you. But thank you very much indeed for your time today, sir.
Thank you. Likewise, Sean. Always a pleasure talking to you, as always. And thank you so much again. And we look forward to see you in London shortly. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thank you.